Hey there, you're listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, and MMA on occasion. Here's your host, RJ Carbone.
And a high drive into left center field. Stanley's going to watch another one fly. Are you kidding me? DiVincenzo a three. Bang! Bang! Knicks take a
Take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
At the wall. See ya! See ya! See ya! Mr. Nova.
Anthony for three. Bang! That one goes down and the game is tied.
Rose, you shook up the world again.
I did it again. But God did it, man. I really just had
Gonna have to. Brunson running away. Oh my! He has been the best player to put on that uniform.
Ball game over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
Wow. I think that's probably the best word to describe what happened this weekend. Not even talking about the Yankees taking 3 out of 4, excuse me. That and then we're going to talk about the series first. But we're going to end the second half of this episode will be about what just went down. Which shocked me. It shocked you, and I'm sure it shocked every single Yankees fan out there. I don't know about you. I had approximately zero faith in Cashman getting done what he had to get done yesterday. And a lot of Yankees fans, and I'm not going to include myself here because I kind of was a little too delusional with the optimism when it came to what the Yankees needed at the deadline. A lot of Yankees fans were saying it was probably a bit too much, and I wasn't really on board with that just because I didn't want to admit it. And Brian Cashman went out there, and what he did was just everything you could really ask of him to do given what was out there and beyond. And so we're going to discuss that in this episode in a bit. Welcome, everybody. Yes, the Yankees also took 3 out of 4 from the Tampa Bay Rays in Yankee Stadium this past weekend. I'm recording this the next morning. It is 10:20 a.m. on Friday the 1st. Happy August. I can't believe we are already at this segment of the season. But yeah, we're going to talk about the deadline and stuff in a little bit. The Yankees also took 3 out of 4, so let's get that part out of the way first. This is a 4-game set, so you go back to Monday in this divisional series, and the Yankees lost the first game. So things were looking really rough. The vibes were completely flipped at that time. They lost 4-2 on Monday night to the Rays. It was the righty Schlittler going up against the righty Rasmussen, who's very good, very talented. Schlittler ends up going 4 1/3, 3 runs, 7 hits, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts, a home run, 86 pitches, takes the loss. We've talked about what he needs to fix. Cutter high and low, start mixing that in. Needs a changeup badly just to have a different look against lefties. Something that goes away. For his worst outing yet, he was good. Didn't get helped out by the bullpen, who in this game allowed 5 runs, allowed 1 run in 4 2/3, 5 base runners, 4 strikeouts. Actually, this is such a 4-game series is so hard to remember. I don't think the bullpen gave up that run because it didn't come until Hill gave up Weaver's run. But I think Headrick followed up Schlittler, and he was very good. We'll talk about him. Hamilton was bad. Put 2 more base runners on. He's not here anymore, thank God. Weaver was not good again in this outing. He put a base runner on the top of the 8th. Comes back out. Yeah, he put a base runner out when he came back out on the top of the 8th. That's when Tim Hill came in, gives up Weaver's run. Following that was Brubaker, who was good. But 4 2/3 a run on 5 base runners and 4 strikeouts for the bullpen as a whole. And the Yankee bats in this game, 2 runs on 6 hits, no extra base hits, 2 walks, 10 strikeouts, 1 for 5 with runners in scoring position. Against Rasmussen, 2 runs in 5 innings. That came in the bottom of the first inning. They were down 2-zip. Jazz Chisholm and Ryan McMahon draw 2 bases loaded walks to tie the game at 2. And that was it. The Yankees didn't score against the Tampa bullpen in 4 innings. Very little offensive production in this game. Dominguez goes 2 for 3. Rosario 1 for 1. McMahon 1 for 3 with a walk and an RBI. Chisholm goes 0 for 3 with a walk and an RBI. Bellinger 1 for 4. Stanton 1 for 4. Tuesday, the Yankees won 7-5. The lefty Max Fried took the bump against the righty Boyle. The Yankee bats produced 7 runs on 6 hits, 3 extra base hits, 5 walks, 11 strikeouts. They were 3 for 9 in scoring position. 6 runs on Boyle in 3 1/3 innings. They were down 3-zip in the bottom of the 3rd. Bellinger hits a 3-run bomb to tie the game up. Bottom 4, the Yankees end up getting 3 more runs when Volpe hits an RBI single. Grisham picks up an RBI. Goldschmidt with an RBI single to make it 6-3 Yankees. Then against the Tampa bullpen, they get 1 more run in 4 2/3. That came in the 8th. The Yanks were up 6-4. Volpe hits a solo shot to make it 7-4. He goes 2 for 4. Volpe does with a 451-foot homer, 2 RBIs, a stolen base, and 2 errors. The best and worst game of his career. Dominguez goes 2 for 4. A double. Steals a base. Bellinger goes 1 for 3. A home run, a walk, 3 RBIs. Goldschmidt 1 for 4 with an RBI. Wells 0 for 2, walk, 2 stolen bases for him. The bullpen goes 2 innings. Loaizaga 1 inning, no runs, 2 hits. Williams 1 inning, 1 run, a hit, a walk. A strikeout gets this save. And then on the mound was Fried, who I'm going to tip my cap to in this series because I thought he was the best starting pitcher. You could have went to Warren. Fried struck out 9, allowed 2 earned runs in 6 2/3. I'm going to hand it to him. 6 2/3 innings, 4 runs, 2 earned, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts, and a home run. He continues to do his thing. How many times have we tipped our cap to Max Fried? 1, 2, 5, 10, 14. 14 times this season we are tipping our cap to him for the 14th time. So he had a rough start in the first couple of innings, right top of the first. Diaz picks up a leadoff base hit. DeLuca with a 2-out, 2-run triple to make it 2-0 Rays. And then 3rd inning comes. He gives up the solo shot to Aranda and make it 3-zip. After that, he completely found it. Retired 14 in a row, all the way up until the top of the 7th with 1 out. So Boone comes out to the mound to visit, doesn't pull him. Fried stays in, does give up that big extra base hit, but overall, he did what he had to do. He did what an ace does. Got the win after the Yankees had been struggling, and I think he's back. I think he's healthy with that finger. Hopefully, we're good to go because it was a nice bounce back from Fried after a tough month of July. So the Yankees do win that game on Tuesday. On Wednesday, they win 5-4 in 11 innings. If there was ever a roller coaster of a game, the righty Warren against the righty Littell, I mean, it was a roller coaster of a game mixed in with a bunch of maddening Yankee mistakes. Every time you get happy, you get upset, vice versa. Top 3, Lau hits an RBI double, 1-0 Tampa. No scoring until the bottom of the 8th. Grisham ties the game on a home run. Stanton hits a go-ahead single, 2-1 Yankees after 8. Top 9, Williams in the game, blows it, gives up a 2-run bomb to Lau. I forget which one it was, Brandon. 3-2 Tampa. Bottom 9, Volpe game-tying home run to tie it up at 3. Top 10, Aranda with his sac fly. Dominguez makes an excellent catch at the wall to keep it at 1. Doesn't make that play. Yankees might not win this game. Maybe a better outfielder makes this play look smoother. Don't care. Dominguez made a nice catch. It's 4-3 Tampa. Bottom 10, Bellinger, big hit in the right field gap. RBI triple to tie the game at 4. And then bottom 11, Ryan McMahon steps to the plate, drives the ball to dead center for a walk-off single to win the game 5-4. So the Yankees, 5 runs on 10 hits, 4 extra base hits, 5 walks, 9 strikeouts, grounded into 1 double play. They were 3 for 13 with runners in scoring position, which was plenty enough. No runs in 5 innings against Littell, and then 5 runs in 5+ against the Tampa bullpen. 2 runs against Baker, 1 against Pete Fairbanks, who ended up staying in Tampa, I believe. 1 run against Uceta, and then 1 run against Kelly. Grisham goes 1 for 3 with an RBI, a home run, a walk, and a sac fly. Love to see him play small ball in the game there with that bunt. Wells goes 1 for 4. Got caught on the bases with 2 outs during the Grisham sac fly. Inexcusable mistake that cannot happen. Volpe goes 1 for 4. Homers, RBI, E6. Rice goes 1 for 2. Couple of walks. Bellinger goes 2 for 5. Triple, RBI. Stanton 1 for 5. RBI, 3 strikeouts. He had a really bad at-bat late in the game. Jazz Chisholm goes 1 for 5. 2 stolen bases. McMahon goes 2 for 4, double, walk, RBI. Dominguez goes 0 for 4, but an intentional walk, grounds into a double play, and also made that nice catch at the wall. On the mound, Will Warren, 6 innings, 1 run, 6 hits, a walk, 4 strikeouts, no home runs allowed, 102 pitches, and the no decision. Continues to be good for this team. Yes, he'll have some inconsistencies, a couple of blow-up starts, but he's been solid. Was getting a lot of ground ball outs in this game. Did his job. I'm getting more and more comfortable with Will Warren by the day. The bullpen, 5 innings, 3 runs, 3 hits, couple of walks, 5 strikeouts. Headrick continued to pitch well. We'll talk about him in literally a couple seconds here. De Los Santos looked good. Continues to fly under the radar, but he was demoted, had to be. Williams with the blown save in the 9th after the home run. He keeps slipping up every time you want to trust him. And then Weaver allows the unearned run. And then Tim Hill got the job done in the 11th. I want to tip my cap to Brent Headrick. It's the 2nd time this season we're tipping our cap to him. He pitched twice in this series, combined for 3 innings, no runs, 1 hit, and 6 strikeouts. He looks pretty filthy. Doesn't blow you away with like a triple digits fastball or anything close to that, but that's become a good pitch for him. He's getting a ton of chase. He gets a lot of swing and miss. He throws strikes, doesn't walk guys, and he's got a nice little pitch mix: 4-seam, slider, splitter away on righties, slider away on lefties. 4-seamer, he's obviously using it to both sides. It gets good elevation. It's got good spin. He's been fun, and I'm going to keep my eye on him going forward. Because he's got some good stuff, and he's going to be important for this bullpen as the only other left-handed pitcher. If he continues to pitch well, the Yankees are going to keep him up here. And then you get to yesterday, Friday, the day game. Now, I was supposed to be at work. It stormed. Didn't make it. So I stayed home, watched the game. Didn't really pay too much attention to the game because it was in smack in the middle of the final hours before the deadline. They win 7-5. Stroman versus Pepio. I know Stanton had an RBI in this game. I know Rice had a 3-run bomb. Stroman was Stroman, not great. Gave up a bunch of runs, I think, in the 2nd inning there. 7-0 at one point. I don't know if it was the 2nd inning. It was 1 inning where he gave up 4 runs to make it 7-4. But whatever, the bats did enough. You got some nice defense around the diamond for once. Then you got a big rain delay in this game, 2+ hours, I think it was. Was shocked that they came back out there, being that they got the 4.5 in. But yeah, it was in the midst of a bunch of trades last minute, so wasn't really focused on the game. But the Yankees won 7-5, and before we get to the trade stuff and everything, first of all, I want to tip my cap to Ryan McMahon. I think he was the best position player of the series once again. So for the second time in as many series as he's played as a Yankee, we're tipping our cap to Ryan McMahon, who went 5 for 14 in this series, double, 3 walks, 2 RBIs, 899 OPS. The walk-off hit on Wednesday, awesome to see that. He's become a fan favorite in just, 6 games with the squad. And you could tell the guy loves it here. You know, I mean, how awesome must it feel, man, to go from playing in Colorado where nothing matters, it's miserable, you're probably not drawing attendance, to the New York Yankees, to the biggest, best sports franchise in the world. Like, that's got to feel really cool as a major leaguer. And you could tell he was embracing that moment when he was in his interview with Shackle on the field after the game. Awesome to see. Gets the Gatorade shower or whatever it was, water. Embraces the fans as he walks off to the dugout. It was really cool stuff. So, Ryan McMahon, great on both sides of the diamond, continues to do his thing. Like having him. I think Yankees fans think he's a ball player as well. So, it's good to have him here. Now, before we get to the good stuff, let's just say the sloppiness, the Yankee sloppiness continues to bother me. On Monday, 3 more frustrating plays. Top of the 4th inning, Jazz can't toss a ball to Goldschmidt without bouncing it. Runner ends up being safe at first. 8th inning, Volpe can't field the ball to his right cleanly. Base runner safe. I feel like an elite shortstop makes that play, or at least gets the stop there and gets the throw off. He got booed for it. Maybe that was a little harsh, but I feel like an elite shortstop makes that play. Top of the 8th, 1 out. Caballero makes that play. Top of the 8th with 1 out, so it wasn't long after that. Tim Hill can't get to a pop-up in front of the mound. That ends up loading the bases. It was just annoying to watch that happen. Tuesday, 1st inning, Volpe makes another throwing error trying to flip the ball to Jazz at second. The very next play, the Yankees allow 2 base runners to advance on first and second. They allow them to tag on a fly out to left field. So, again, it's not just the errors. It's the little intangibles like that, right? It's letting the trail runner tag. It's relay mistakes of not covering the bag. That is always going to be ingrained in them. And that's why, as much as they fix their defense with personnel, I'm still a little bit worried about it. Top of the 9th, Volpe makes a throwing error to put the tying runner on base, lead runner at the plate. Fortunately, he didn't come back to haunt them. And then on Wednesday, top of the 2nd inning, McMahon makes an E6 fielding error. I don't think anybody's too pissed about that. He'll be fine. But top of the 8th, Volpe makes another throwing error, puts Diaz on base. And then bottom of the 9th, that's when Austin Wells forgets how many outs there were after the Grisham sack bunt. He's on second. He starts walking back to the dugout, gets doubled up in a 1-0 game in the bottom of the 9th inning. Disgusting, distasteful, and unforgiving. And Kay said on the broadcast, unforgiving. I think that was perfectly put. So it's the shit like that that still bothers me. It's an Aaron Boone team. I think that's a lot of him. It's a lot of the organization because they just don't seem to preach this stuff that much. But again, it's hard to dwell on the negative when the Yankees won out and did what they did. Not just, again, winning 3 out of 4, but what they did off the field in the front office. And that's what I want to get to in this show for the rest of it here. So we'll talk trade deadline when we return from break. We're going to go to a quick break, though. Be back in a sec.
Quick break here, guys. Stay connected with BD4 on social media. Follow us on Instagram and X at BD4Pod, and find us on Facebook by searching BD4. Don't miss out. Join the conversation.
Okay, so where do we start? First of all, I want to say I am so glad the Yankees didn't sell. They were never going to, but some Yankees fans, a lot of Yankees fans, at least on social media, wanted the Yankees to sell. The Yankees were never going to sell unless Judge was done for the season, and if it ended up being something like that, then yes, I would have been on board with it too. Judge got help, or not. Judge ended up being relatively healthy, we think. He's under contract for the next, whatever it is, number of years, right? With only so many prime years left. You look at the American League, the field is wide open this year. Okay, you have a pretty easy schedule in the final couple of months. And you've got the assets to become a contender and make these trades, clearly. Now, looking back at it, I'm so happy they didn't. And I wasn't like, again, they were never going to sell. But like, for those who are, I don't know if there's anybody left who's upset, but like, have you ever heard the Bronx, or have you ever been to the Bronx in October? If you're one who wanted to sell, I cannot imagine you've ever been to the Bronx in the month of October. It is an insane atmosphere. I am there, smack in the middle of it all, in the left field bleachers, every single October for multiple games, okay? I'm telling you, you go sit in the bleachers in a playoff game in that place, you're never going to think of the word sell. It just gets so wild in that building. You're never going to, like, it's a taste you want to keep getting, you know? And I would like an alternate universe where the Yankees do sell, just to see how this fan base would actually handle a full-on fire sale and restart. Like, a lot of Yankees fans say they want it, but they don't actually. They would never be able to handle a rebuild. Some of us can't even handle simple peaks and valleys. Every single loss, we want somebody traded, fired, cut, etc. The Yankee fan would be 10 times more insufferable in such scenario. The appeal of a rebuild would get old real quick for you. So if you're anybody who wants them to actually sell, or wanted them to actually sell, I don't think you actually want it deep down. I think it's more frustrations boiling over. But yeah, the fact that we got lucky with the Judge news, there's no way I wanted them to sell. And so Cashman went out there and he knocked it out of the park. I put on my Instagram story on BD4 Pod on Instagram yesterday. I gave him an A- because I thought it was that good. Now, could the Yankees have used another starting pitcher? Sure. Was it a must? No. I don't think it was a must. If you listen to my show the last couple of months, you know where I stand on that. I think the rotation has enough if we're talking about getting through the postseason. But you look at what Cashman did yesterday, or you just look at what Cashman did during trade season. He shored up third base with Ryan McMahon. He added glove at shortstop with Caballero. He found right-handed depth, right? He got right-handed depth for the bench with Rosario and Slater and Caballero. He added firepower to the back end of that bullpen with Bednar and Bird and Doval. I don't know why I can't count. He did all of this while losing nobody among your top 7 in the farm system, which is wild that he was able to get all of these names including brand name relievers and a solid player who's been an all-star before in Ryan McMahon, without giving away a Spencer Jones or George Lombard Jr. or Cam Schlittler or Carlos LaGrange or Cunningham or Ben Hess, etc. Nobody from their top 8 or top 7 was given away. That's insane. And you did that. You traded away, quote unquote, nobody prospects, and you got a bunch of guys under team control because Cashman likes his control. So as expiring contracts expire and guys like Weaver and Williams, they're now more expendable to you because Bednar is not a free agent until 2027, because Doval doesn't hit the open market until 2028, because Jake Bird doesn't expire until 2029. And you have McMahon, I think, until he's not a free agent until 2028. So you've got guys here for a decent amount of time, and you didn't give away anything. And on the field, man, this team is going to be helped out so much. Just looking first at the position player depth, going back to the McMahon deal, he's already become a fan favorite with his play in these couple of series he's been in. He's an even better glove than Oswald Peraza, but he's a much better bat, right? At worst, Ryan McMahon is a major league bat. At best, Oswald Peraza was a terrible bat. Automatic, significant upgrade. Jose Caballero, some people's favorite addition this trade season. A similar bat as Volpe, like the offensive metrics are poor, the results are poor. Much better on the bases, and I'm not just talking about stolen bases, which he leads Major League Baseball with 34, which is wild, and that's going to help so much if he runs here. But not just there, he's a good, smart base runner. Really smart base runner. Knows when to tag. Can take the extra base. Really smart on the paths. A much better shortstop than Anthony Volpe. Doesn't have the arm. Has a great glove. Has range. He can play anywhere. His career, he's got 5 outs above average at second, 6 outs above average at third, 7 outs above average at shortstop. And in limited time in the outfield, 0 outs above average there. So at worst, he's average when you go to the outfield with him. He can play anywhere. Ahmed Rosario and Austin Slater. Rosario plays multiple positions. He hits lefties well. Austin Slater, we haven't talked about him yet. The Yankees got him late Wednesday morning. They traded an unranked minor league prospect for Slater, who came from the White Sox. He's an outfielder. It's another solid move. They gave away nothing, and they improved again. He's a right-handed bat who can hit lefties well. And after the McMahon deal, you desperately needed more balance. You needed righties. So you went out and you got a couple of more right-handed bats. This season, Austin Slater against left-handed pitching, an 836 OPS. Over the course of his career against left-handed pitching, a 798 OPS. He's also an excellent pinch hitter. He's a really good pinch hitter. That's going to help. A career 417 on base, 860 OPS, and 228 pinch hit appearances. That's super important because now the Yankees have a ton of drag and drop bats to use off the bench in the postseason if they don't DFA Slater or Rosario by then. But assuming they keep those guys on the roster, you now look at the depth that this lineup has and the guys who are going to be coming off the bench on certain days. Between Stanton and Rice and Goldschmidt and the Martian and Grisham, and now you got Rosario and Slater and Caballero, that gives them a lot of options. You could do so many different things with so many matchups, right? Against left-handed starters, maybe Rosario plays third base, Slater goes in left field. McMahon and Dominguez come off the bench. Different things. It is the most confident I've been in a Yankee lineup probably since 2009. That is 16 years ago. The Yankees now have 12 hitters, I believe. I believe it's 12 guys hitting over 700 OPS. That's got to be the most in Major League Baseball. If not, it's got to be second, no worse. And, that's excluding Volpe and Wells, who are just below 700. Not that they've been great. We've begged for this for years, to have some depth, right? So if Judge is not hitting again in October, which is bad, but if he doesn't, you still might have enough offense to get over the hump because of your lineup depth now and because of your bullpen depth, which we're going to touch on in a bit. Slater's, slightly above average outfielder 2 for what it's worth. He's consistently positive in the metrics and each of left, right, and center field. He's got a strong throwing arm. I just hope Aaron Judge is healthy. Scares me a little bit that they got Slater, who's an outfielder, and for what it's worth, they got an outfielder for Peraza, who I don't think is going to be on the big league club, but it is interesting, man. You look at what happens with this lineup, you can do, again, so many things. McMahon is obviously going to play against every single right-handed pitcher, but against left-handed pitchers at third base, you could do Rosario, like I said. You could even do Caballero. Caballero can be a defensive replacement late in the game for a Volpe or for Dominguez or Stanton if Stanton ends up having to play outfield. You can spell Volpe a day completely. Give him a few days. If Volpe needs some days off here and there at shortstop, if Boone was smart, because we've talked about Volpe and days off being good for him always, he can afford that now if he didn't feel like he could before. If Judge does return to the field at some point, Rosario or Slater are probably DFA'd, one of them, to make room on the roster. Or you can throw someone on the phantom DL. Right, but it is a bit of a logjam. So if he is okay, yeah, you can afford just saying goodbye to one of those bats. Or you can throw somebody on the phantom DL again. But, they're deep. It's going to be interesting, It's going to be interesting watching catcher/first base play out. JC Escara was recently demoted. So that means Ben Rice is now your second catcher. To be honest, he should be getting more reps than Wells at this point. Wells is not having a good year. His at-bats are awful. He's continuing to chase, not hitting, not walking, not getting on base, ever. He does produce some runs. That can't be the only thing you do. When you got a hard-throwing right-hander starting, I think you play Rice at first base. When you have a mediocre right-hander starting or any left-handed pitcher, I think you put Goldie at first base, but you have Rice at catcher. I just think at this point you got to play your better players a little more. And as much as you like Wells in his framing, and he's a good blocker, he can block balls and he can frame. That's nice. I feel Ben Rice in lineup depth is super important in baseball today. Ben Rice deserves it. And he's been way too powerful for the Yankees to just not play. And he's going to be a part of their future. We'll see where. I thought he was going to get traded. Kind of glad he didn't. So, yes, it's a really deep lineup. But, man, I think what stands out at you after this deadline and what could become potentially the strength of this team now, the biggest strength of this team, is a bullpen that went from this bullpen. It went from an utter weakness, just a feeble group of garbage, to a strength. And I knew it was a possibility that you could make the bullpen decent. I didn't think that Cashman would bring a 2 out of 10 bullpen to a 9 out of 10 bullpen, at least on paper. I did not think that was remotely possible, especially with the names that were going off the list. And it was exactly what he did, the guys he got. It was I felt like I was singing by myself because I don't know, at least on social media when I was cruising around or scrolling around, I didn't see anybody else complain about this as much as I was. But like, what do we always talk about here when it comes to the bullpen? The Yankees' obsession with bargain bin spin rate projects over proven power arms has been a recurring self-inflicted wound for a bit now. And I think if you need a better example of that, you look right at the World Series Game 1 last year. Perfect illustration. You didn't have any legit high-velocity option to go to challenge Freddie Freeman, so you were stuck deciding between Tim Hill or Nestor Cortez. Cortez comes in, grooves him an 88-mile-an-hour fastball on the inner half. We all know what happened. So for me, it was like you have all these resources. You have the payroll. You have the trade chips, blue chip prospects to move. Yet, you're never going out and grabbing flamethrower arms when it matters the most in an era where bullpen matters. It always bothered me that in an age where velocity is king and everybody throws 100 and everybody hits the ball 100 miles an hour off the bat and hits home runs, everything's so focused around power on both ends. In an age like that, where you're the general manager of the New York Yankees, who have the most resources in the world, you're bottom third in fastball velocity this much. It bothered me. And it was like, what are we doing? We have to adopt a little bit. I get spin rate and all this, but like, you need a balance. And so you combine that with this infield, this Yankee infield being so bad, and you have a bunch of soft throwing ground ball guys, that's the worst possible formula you could have. So Cashman went out there and he shocked the shit out of me, and he fixed that, hopefully. And he got two really hard throwing all-stars who miss bats in Doval and Bednar. And he also acquired Jake Bird, who can also miss bats. And he throws 94, 95. Awesome. That's what we've all been asking for. Or at least, again, I feel like I was like in the minority. I don't know, because nobody else complained about it. Maybe it's just because I was complaining about it so much. But yeah, you got the velocity you needed. You got the firepower. David Bednar, the first one the Yankees got, super excited for him. Was kind of talking it into existence. I got a buddy at work who's a Pirates fan. Kind of talked it into existence there, was clowning on him for a couple of days, saying he'd be a Yankee. He ends up being a Yankee. The Yankees wanted him for a while now. I remember his name being brought up multiple times in the past. He is a proven closer. He's done it for years. Okay, it's a guy with a commanding presence on the mound. You watch him pitch. The opposite of a Devin Williams when you look at the body language. This is a big dude with a big fastball who oozes confidence. Devin Williams, let's just be blunt. He has struggled as a closer for the Yankees this season. He struggled with the Yanks. We can nitpick and find all the good stretches all we want, but at the end of the day, the fact is he has a 5-something ERA, and it's now August. He's not been good. Not been good enough. But someone like Bednar, the guy's filthy. He's got an electric fastball, 97, 98, top of the zone. He doesn't walk many guys. He gets a lot of chase. He gets a lot of swing and miss. He gets a ton of strikeouts. You combine that with his low ground ball rate, and I think that's perfect because he'll be able to keep the ball out of play. So with Volpe at shortstop, you don't have to worry about those ground balls as much when he's on the mound. He doesn't get hit hard. He doesn't allow a ton of home runs. And you look at the expected numbers on him, they all check out. Bednar's a guy who can get both sides of the plate out effectively. This year, he's been much better against lefties, shockingly, but for the most part of his career, very good against both sides. Good split, slow curve. Camilo Doval, I saw that name pop up on my alerts. I think I'm the most excited for him. Not even a name I said this year, because I did not expect him to be a Yankee at any point in my life. This is a guy who's filthy. He's got a cutter that sits 98 to 102. He's got a two-seam fastball that sits 96 to 99 with more sink than tail. Tight slider with good drop. Guys are swinging over the top of it a lot. And when he's throwing triple-digit cutters at that tough arm slot where it's almost sidearm-ish, good luck. Good luck. Camilo Doval, that guy's filthy. And you give him to Matt Blake, who's already been a good arm, Doval, I think you got something there. And then you got Jake Bird. You got Jake Bird right after Bednar, who's less established, but the stuff was all there. The upside's all there to be this Matt Blake project, right? This reclamation project for Blake. The metrics are all good. The swing and miss stuff, the potential for Blake to tap into is there. He's got a sinker that sits 94, 95. He's got a good sweeper and curveball. Sinker curve to lefties, sinker sweeper to righties. He's also got a very tough arm slot to pick up, even lower than Doval's. Jake Bird's more of a sidearm pitcher. He's there to eat innings and spare guys like Weaver and Williams, or Weaver and Tim Hill, who've been spammed recently. Those guys have been working. I love the fact that Jake Bird now becomes like a background story, because it was initially Bednar and then Bird, and I was like, okay, good. I give the Yankees a B. But the fact that it was Bednar, Bird, but then you got Doval, it's like, okay, Bird, who's been inconsistent for his career, is not the second guy we're relying on as far as trade acquisitions. So I love that. It's a bullpen that in the back, it's deep, and now you have your bridge guys to get to the back. If a guy like Bird pans out, again, you got some guys coming back. It's a good bullpen. It's a really good bullpen on paper now. And, the Yankees lately, you watching them over the last month, as much as they've struggled, they have been picking up more and more comebacks, and that's been due to their bats being really productive. Now that they've got a bullpen to get big outs and to shorten games, with that comeback ability they're starting to develop, whoa. It's good. The pitching staff as a whole looks good. Now, obviously, what happens next? Well, they just recently demoted Yerry De Los Santos and Ian Hamilton. They've both been optioned. Hamilton, I think we all agree, needed to be optioned. He has sucked. It wasn't working. It was just, I think it's his third year here. Kind of needed a new face. You got a lot out of him his first year. Hasn't been the same since. Thank you for your service. You can hang down there. And De Los Santos, it sucks to remove him off the 26-man because he was throwing really well for the Yankees, just came back. But overall, 1.78 ERA across 25 and a third innings. Good stuff. 96-mile-an-hour two-seamers, changeup with good vertical break, ground ball machine. The guy was good. But the fact that, me and my brother were like debating whether Santos or Headrick should have been sent down. The fact that that's now become the debate just goes to show you how deep their bullpen is. And then you look at the rotation, and it gets interesting because it's like Sunday, Luis Seal is due to be activated. And so when that happens, who's next? Do you cut ties with someone like Stroman? Do you send Cam Schlittler back down? which I think might be what happens because Schlittler does have options. And again, you can look at a guy like Headrick, send him down, promote Schlittler or bring Schlittler out of the bullpen. But Headrick is your only other lefty arm after Tim Hill. And again, he's also got some pretty good stuff. So I think what will happen is, or at least what could happen, Schlittler goes down for a month. You bring him back up in September as a call-up. Give him reps as a right-on-right relief pitcher. And you bring him out of the bullpen come October. I think at this point, he's mainly a fastball slider guy anyway. That's the best role for him. But, yeah, man, like, you look at it on paper now altogether, Bednar, Doval, Bird, Williams, Weaver, Hill, I think Brubaker's still up here, Loizaga, and Headrick. And when Leiter Jr. and Cruz and Yarbrough are back, you're gonna need to make some more decisions. So I'm sure maybe it's Headrick for Yarbrough because you got your lefty Yarbrough coming back. Maybe Brubaker will be gone, and then maybe if you have to, when everybody's back, decide between like Bird and Stroman who's going down. I don't know, but again, depth. You turned shallow garbage into depth. And you can now look at your rotation and you can picture something in the playoffs, right? Fried to Rodon to Heel in Game 3. And then let's say you get to the LCS. I know we're jumping really far ahead here. But if you're lucky enough to make it to a series where you need 4 starters, you can do a bullpen game because you've got the bullpen depth to do it. I don't love the bullpen gimmick myself, but if the options are a bullpen game or one of Warren, Schlittler, Stroman, Yarbrough, whatever, in Game 4, a bullpen option might not be the worst thing in the world. Those are 2 decent options. But yeah, obviously a lot of people wanted a starting pitcher at the deadline. The starting pitching market was obviously scarce. Nobody ended up being moved really, except for Merrill Kelly. But you look at the guys who are expected to go, like Edward Cabrera, what's his name? Sandy Alcantara. Sandy didn't go anywhere. Cease didn't go anywhere. Joe Ryan stayed put. Good job, Red Sox. Zach Gallen didn't go anywhere. So a lot of guys stayed put in terms of starting pitching. But yeah, I think the starting pitching depth on the Yankees is a little bit scary because now you're relying on Luis Heel, who's returning from a shoulder issue, to stay healthy and be your guy to give you 4 or 5 innings in a playoff. I'm happy they doubled down and they've developed what could be this super bullpen because that's what you need in today's game. I say it all the time. What wins in today's game? Power and bullpen. And the Yankees have a lineup that's first in home runs, and they've got a bullpen that, from now until the end of the season could very well be first in strikeouts. And I think those are the 2 most important statistics when you're looking at teams who thrive. Homers and strikeouts, right? That's it. So I just hope, and again, you've improved your defense. But I just hope that Boone knows how to handle this staff. It's so many arms for him. It's so many bats for him too. But it's a lot of arms. A lot of good arms added to what was already a good lineup. Is Williams closing the right idea? They already said that they're going to close with him. We'll see how long that goes. But they can afford to be a little more modern and not really have a set closer. You could do it by committee. I know some people are more old school and they want established roles. But I don't know. At the same time, you can't be too stubborn. If Williams is still not cutting it in the month of August, have a quick trigger to use your weapons. Don't be afraid to take advantage of the weapons that you have. You know what I mean? You don't have to stick with him just because you want him to have a role, quote unquote. I think you could use that to your advantage now. So, folks, I'm happy. I give Cashman an A-. I think it's an excellent deadline. The vibes are all the way back up. Didn't think this would be the case. So let's head to our final break, and we're going to wrap it up with what's coming up next on the schedule and our trivia when we return in just a sec. Be right back.
Want more BD4? Subscribe to our YouTube channel and never miss an episode. Hit that like button, drop a comment, and share with your fellow fans. Don't forget to ring that bell so you're always the first to know when a new video drops. Love BD4 but don't have the time to sit down and watch? Don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify so you never miss an episode. And if you're enjoying the show, leave us a 5-star rating and a quick review. It helps us grow and keeps the conversation going. Want everything BD4 in one place? Head to our website at bd4blog.com. You'll find links to every podcast platform, social media, and even our blog, where we dive deeper into all things BD4. Check it out now and stay connected.
All right, welcome back to the show. Episode 888 of the podcast. The Yanks go hard, absolutely hard on deadline day as we move forward now. The Yankees have the Miami Marlins. They're going to Miami to play ball this weekend for 3 games in Miami. Let's see if I can pull up my phone here to start the month of August. They got a 7 p.m. game tonight, a 4 p.m. game tomorrow, and then on Sunday, when Heel comes back, it's a 1:40 p.m. game. So I believe they've got lined up Carlos Rodon for tonight, Cam Schlittler for Saturday, and then Heel. So it's a series the Yankees should take. Miami Marlins are a team that's not awful, but they're not good at all. They're really bad. Win that series. You should probably take all 3 and sweep. Time to get hot. You won 3 out of 4 or 3 in a row. Now would be a good time to get it going. You're 3 back in the loss column. I guess technically they have the tiebreaker. Toronto does, so yeah, 4 back really. But let's go. It's go time for the Yankees. So with that said, folks, let's wrap it up with our trivia question, and that will be that. I ordered the Hall of Fame caps, and they're really nice. They've got the retro bill and everything. Yeah, not a trivia in this episode. An open-ended question. What grade would you give Cashman on his trades this year? All right, what grade would you give Cashman on his trades this year? So let me know in the comments down below what grade you'd give Cashman. Whether you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, watching this on YouTube, or watching one of these clips maybe on my Instagram that I shared on, or Twitter or Facebook, let me know what grade you give Cashman on the trade deadline. So I appreciate you all for tuning in. I always do. And I will see you after the Yankees-Marlins series, where hopefully we're talking about another series victory. Appreciate you all. See you soon. Well, if you made it this far, that means you listened to or watched the entire episode. Thank you. Just remember to follow, subscribe, download, rate and review, and all that fun stuff to help out the podcast. And I will see you in the next episode of BD4.